making a smoothie.
So, good morning everybody. The diesel heater day is starting. It's also raining. Beautiful day yesterday, you know, when I wasn't installing a diesel heater. And then today, rain. So I've had to form this rudimentary shelter at the back of the van. So what I did last night is I dropped the spare wheel down, and under here, just here and here, there are two bolts that you undo. That drops down, and then your spare wheel drops out of there. There's nothing back here at the rear of the van that I can see that's detrimental to, like, you know, brakes or wires or leads or anything like that. There's one lead that goes to the parking sensors, so I just need to avoid that. But where I'm installing the heater, and I'll show you in a second, there's nothing underneath. There's a couple of what they call, like, support chassis support rails and things like that obviously I've got to avoid as much as I can. But apart from that, this is the perfect place for me in my van to have the heater, and I'll show you. So I've popped it, well, obviously it's upside down, but that's where it's going to go. There's going to be plenty of airflow into the intake, and then as it comes through there and out, you might not be able to see, it's pretty dark. As it comes there and out, I'm going to put the like the hose all the way to the end. Let's have a look, see if I've got that, so you know what I'm talking about. The hose is this bit, so it's that bit there, and that's where the airflow will go all the way down, obviously the other way around, but all the way down and out there. It's an interesting install. It's not just putting some sidebars on, is it, or, you know, putting some carpet in or fitting some cupboards. This is like serious stuff in it, so like I better crack on. Finish my coffee first. Procrastinate for half an hour and 45 minutes, maybe an hour, before I start drilling holes again, like I did with my pop top. Everything inside me doesn't want me to drill into my van. I've drilled a few holes that go all the way through, so I know where they come out. There were a couple of guide holes and things like that, so I'm going to cut out this whole section here, or as much of it as I possibly can, so then there is the exhaust isn't touching any of this or the chassis or anything like that. I'm also going to cut out the lino, the flooring, so then that doesn't heat up as well. There is a spreader plate that goes on, and that will get screwed in there and there and there. There's a hole that I'm going to screw there that I'm going to drill there to put the power for the pump through, and then another hole for the fuel return, because the fuel tank is going to be here, so then I can access it. The wire will come out here for the fuel pump and straight down and out of there, and then all of the fuel lines and pumps and stuff will be underneath, because I want the fuel pump and the filter and everything to be outside, because I've heard it clicks and it's quite noisy, so I want that to be outside, so everybody else outside can hear the clicks and I can't hear them in the van. And I'm going to also put that down between the plate and the bottom, so then it creates another seal. It's quite well sealed, but I'm also going to seal it underneath. I'm also going to, you might have seen on video, I'm going to use the Hammerite rust beater as soon as I've drilled any holes or anything in the chassis that's exposed to the outside that's not got paint on it, and that'll stop it from rusting. I am going to install the fuel line that came with it for now, and then when the new fuel line comes, then I'll swap it over. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Then at least I can get the heater running today, because my 20 amp extra wire arrived, so I can attach that to the other piece that's not quite long enough, and get that attached to the battery. It's gonna be a long day, isn't it? One thing I could never find online anywhere was what it looked like underneath the van, to see whether I were going to drill through anything stupid. Now I'm guessing it's the same on the T5s, 5.1s, but I can say with some certainty on the T6s that there's nothing under where I'm going to drill, and I'll show you. The trim came all the way across. Now I've taken out that trim, and it's basically exposed this whole section here. Obviously there's some reinforcing bits here that you don't really want to be cutting into or making any weaker, so stay away from those as much as you possibly can. But over here, as you can see, there's a couple of exploring holes. There's nothing under there that you can do damage to. As I've said before, the only wire that comes this way is the wire that comes from the to the parking sensors. it's exactly the same on the other side, apart from you've got the exhaust in the way. So ideally, this is why I'm putting it on this side. Right, I'm getting a wet head. Yeah, so I think I'd either like a rear awning for this, but then I'd just literally be buying a rear awning just to install a diesel heater, and then that would make the cheap Chinese diesel heater quite expensive. I'll tell you what I could do. I could go get the table and the... Yeah, I'm doing that. See you in a bit. It's literally like making dens as a kid. So what I've done is this, look. I've got the parasol going into the wheelie bin, and then this up, and now I'm in my little dry zone. All this is to obviously put off the inevitable fact that I'm going to have to drill holes in my van. I did it in the pop top, come on. It's only a bit of alloy. Can always get welded, can't it? You know? Oh. Right, let's crack on. I procrastinated long enough. I don't even know what time it is. I think I've been messing around for about an hour, putting off drilling holes in my van. Anyway, right, I can't do anything about it. I'm going to have to drill a hole. Sensibility wise, I'm drilling a hole big enough just in case I've got the heater the wrong way around. I haven't. It says quite clearly on the instruction manual on the front which way the airflow is. That's completely right. But if in some sort of weird scenario where the Chinese factory has put together my heater the wrong way around, I can still spin it round and fit it in. Let's start drilling. Oh, I told you I'm not looking forward to this bit. Sounded like a really angry duck, that, didn't it? Right then, hole number 1. The hole is cut, nice, and what I'm doing now is I'm fitting these bolts to the mounting plate on the underside of the diesel heater. Now this mounting plate can only go on one way, so you shouldn't get it wrong, and the reason I'm doing this now is so then I can make sure the hole I've made is big enough to fit this sort of space. If not, then I'll have to make a bigger hole. Well, so anyway, underneath the van is what it looks like now. So we've got the hole cut, or the 2 holes cut. If I can give you any tips, use 50mm, not a 40mm like I used, then you wouldn't have to go back round and drill out a slightly larger hole. Once these bolts are on, it takes up more space, so I only found that out once I put the bolts on. It's all fine. I'm going to spray all this up now with the rust prevention stuff. This hole here where the screw was for the mounting plate up there, I can put the fuel line through, which is ace. I'll put a bit of sealant on that as well, and there's the cold air inlet which will hang down and maybe go somewhere over this way, as long as it's not pointing to the direction of where the water and crap's going to come in as I'm driving. It always has to face the other way. And then the exhaust pipe, probably bring that down and out towards the side of the vehicle over that way, not sure yet. And then the fuel pump, because obviously that's going to come through here. I'll probably attach a fuel pump onto here, but I've got plenty of mounting points here and all the way around that I can pop it on and screw it into. So happy days so far. So far so good. Still keep putting my head in all that rubbish, covered in crap. And this is where the heater is going to sit once it's in. Obviously I'll tidy it all up and everything like that, but that's basically the angle that it's going to be at. Maybe a little bit more on a bit straighter like that. That's it, there we go, looks neater. I've also managed to make clearance, or had to make clearance for the bed as well, because that obviously moves backwards and forwards as the bed comes in and out. All I need to do now is just cut out the lino, so then the mounting plate sits on the body rather than this, because I don't want that getting hot and smelly. But it's coffee time now, so I'm gonna have a cuppa and sweep all this out and spray it. And while I'm having my cuppa, then at least the spray can be drying. So right, off we go. See you, bye. Right, so I'm just going to drill a hole in this to get the nipple for the fuel line to come out of the fuel tank. Now, the difficult bit now is getting this that way in the tube, so I think what I might do is attach it to a piece of wire I'm going to send up through the hole. So I'm going to push that through there. I should be able to grab this bit of wire. Rather than check for leaks when it's full of diesel, I'm going to fill it with water now and see what happens. As far as I can see, there's nothing. I think that, my friends, is a successful nipple install. Let's start wiring this bad boy together. Right, I'm not sure how it goes, so I'm just going to do it and see what happens. So all I need to do is get that on the exhaust, so that one's out. And again, it's just to let in the cold air. So let's get that tightened on. I'll tell you, that went on a lot easier than the exhaust. Hey ho. So what I'm saying here on this video is, if I can do it, anyone can. However, because it's quite a scary thing to do, I'll be honest with you. If you don't feel massively confident, then don't do it, you know, just don't do it. Right, I'm back again. It's a little bit later on, it's about 4:30. As you can see, it's properly dark now. But what I've done is I've shined a light into where I've done, if that makes sense. So I've cut out the square and made that hole bigger. It's not neat, but it's big enough. And then I've put heat-proof sealant all the way around. It's not tidy, but you're not going to see it. And then that'll dry out. Once that's all dried and sorted, then we can start installing the heater tomorrow. I'm not doing it fast. There's no point doing it fast. You could probably get this done in a day, easily in a day. I didn't start until late, and there's no point rushing because we're all not able to go anywhere, are we? So so I might as well just take my time and make sure it's done properly, and make sure all these edges are properly painted over, so then there's no bare metal showing. Once that's all done, it'll all be dried off, it'll all cured by tomorrow, which means then I can gunk up all that with some more fireproof sealant, get the heater properly on, and then get it all wired up underneath. So tomorrow's job is getting the heater in rather than just drilling holes. So yeah, sit down, have a beer, think about what I've done, have a tidy up, because I'm not a clean worker. I really aren't a tidy worker. I mean, there might be other people out there that work a lot messier than I do, but considering all I've done is drilled a hole, it's quite messy. So yeah, get this tidied up, get it back in the van, and then crack on tomorrow. I'll see you in the morning. Bye. Right, so today I have a helper. She just sat watching. She said it's really therapeutic. Well, isn't that nice for her? I have built a little mini cage around the diesel tank. I used an old frame. Basically, I want to be able to get the tank in and out should I need to. So I don't want it fixed in place, but I also don't want it rolling around in the back. I'm going to put some extra long fuel cord that comes on onto there, so then if we do need to take it out at any point to fill it up with diesel, then I can do that and just maneuver it out of place without damaging anything. But that fits in there lovelily. Lovelily, that's definitely a word, lovelily. So I think it's now time to start putting together the heater. This is what I've done so far. So, hope you can see that. So, I've sent the fuel line from the fuel tank, I'll show you that in a second, down through this hole that was already there, down through into the fuel filter, which goes that way. That's the direction. Goes that way, filters it through, goes round into the fuel pump. The fuel pump has actually got an arrow on it that tells you the direction of it, but it's underneath there, so I've had to just draw a little arrow on it just to remind me. That's just the cap that stops any bits going in. It has to go on this sort of angle, and that stops any air bubbles getting through and into the diesel tank. So all the air bubbles obviously go to the top, and then when it pumps, it just pumps through diesel. And then what I've got to do now, obviously, is then send this fuel line up into the diesel heater, which will be through there, and then obviously the two pipes will come through here, and then the power for the pump will come through here and connect onto here. So that's as far as I've got so far. Right, so it's been a while since I've done a video because I've just been really concentrating. So I have connected the fuel lines, everything's ready to go underneath. I've also connected the fuel pump, as you saw, and I have also connected the heater to the fuel pump. We're getting quite a lot of white exhaust fumes coming out. That, I'm led to believe, is totally normal. It's quite a lot. It's like something from a Bonnie Tyler film. I'm just going to walk away from it, obviously. Don't want to be breathing that in. It's making a right din. The heater unit itself is ace. It's kicking out some serious heat, which is ace. And it's on full, everything's working absolutely fine. I'm going to run it for a bit. The smoke has gone. That noise is a bit annoying. I haven't fit the silencer yet, so it could be that. It could just be vibrations and stuff. So yeah, it could be that. I'm going to run it for a bit. Its first run, and then we'll put on a shutdown, and then we'll start to sort all the stuff out. Hearts in my mouth. So that's the noise of the fan in the van. I can still hear the pump. Don't know whether you can hear that. So I can still hear the pump, but that's still loud. It's not as loud as the fan heater that we normally have on in the van. In fact, it's quieter than the electric fan heater that we normally have on in the van. So apart from the pump, the clicky pump, it's actually lovely and toasty in here. It really is. I advise anybody to get a diesel heater, whether they install it themselves or whether they get someone to do it for them. There's still a few more things that I need to do. Obviously the exhaust is really, oh bloody hell, is still loose, and so is the air intake and things like that, and I still need to seal up underneath. What I'm doing is I'm just going to run it full blast for about an hour, maybe till about 4, then switch it off and then leave it overnight and come back and just do all the sealing and stuff like that, because there's where the wire goes through for the fuel pump as well, there's a big hole there, and I don't want any noxious gases getting in. I also would probably say to anybody who were running something like this to crack open a few windows as well. If you've got the wind deflectors, you can crack your window up into there, and then there's no rain getting in or anything like that, and also you're letting in lovely air. It's not the quietest. You're not going to be stealth if you've got your diesel heater on and you're in a car park in Asda trying to go to sleep, or outside of someone's house. It's pretty roary. That horrible whistling has gone. I'm going to move away from the diesel fumes. The horrible whistling has gone. That went as soon as I put the air intake filter on and the silencer on the exhaust bit. I'm still in shock that I've done it. I told you I didn't know what we're doing. So, I mean, I've made a right mess considering I've only just installed the diesel heater. That's my mess right there. Diesel heater's pumping away. I'm well happy with that. So yeah, tomorrow, I mean, I've done it over 3 days because literally with lockdown, there is nothing else to do. I mean, if I had a day to do it, I would have got it installed in a day. Probably rushed it and probably made mistakes. Because I've had such a long time to do it, I've literally just done every single piece methodically, thought twice, which way does the fuel pipe go, where does the fuel pump go, And yeah, like the electrics and things like that, the whole wiring loom that it comes with is so easy, you can't get it wrong. Every time I come on video, she brings me a coffee.
It's because I do it all the time.
She don't do it all the time. This is her second coffee this year, and this is
God.
number 2 coffee today. Come here.
No,
Come here.
I'm not looking my best right now. I've got no makeup on or anything.
She still looks beautiful though, doesn't she?
Oh.
The beautiful wife and all that. What do you think to the diesel heater?
I think the diesel heater is amazing, and I think we're all going to be fighting over this back corner of the van.
That's your corner though, isn't it? That?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, that's Shell's corner. Happy.com. It's get in now, get in the van now. Because obviously I've had up doors shut and stuff.
Oh, that is so nice.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, and that on your feet as well.
Yeah.
It's directly on.
When you come in from a walk. Oh, how nice is that?
And you can do it remotely, can you?
Yeah, I can put the... I hadn't even talked about the remote. Yeah.
So we can be on top of a fell and go, oh, it's a bit chilly, let's put it back on.
Michelle just said, I don't know if you heard, that we could go to the top of a fell and then press the on button and turn
Like,
it on.
like Hive. Like Hive.
Which, to be fair, there are things out there that do that, but this is a Chinese diesel heat that costs 70 quid. It's not. You have to be within about 3.5 micromillimeters of it. It would work in the house.
Okay.
You know, so like on a morning when it's frosty and I'm off out,
Yeah.
I want to turn the diesel heater on, and then it's toasting warm when I get in the van before I put the engine on, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's that. So I set the thermostat on this to 15, and then when it got up to 16 degrees, it slowed right down. So I can still hear the pump, which is, I think I get used to that, to be honest with you. For the warmth, like warmth versus annoyance of pump noise levels, I think warmth wins, so I can cope with that. But there's your time. I've set that, so it's 1 minute past 4. It's 18 degrees in the van now, and I set the temperature to 20. So that means it's kicking in now, full belt, to get up to 20 degrees. Once it gets to that point, it'll turn off and it'll tick over at 20. I think 20 is a completely satisfactory level of heat, probably too warm in a van like this. That's the amount of volts it's using, so obviously the voltage goes up. Yeah, looking at my voltmeter on the side there, that's going down, so it's using more power to get up to temperature. There are your error codes. Obviously I don't have any of them. I did have one when I first set it up because I only primed it once, and there was air in the line, and it just said there's error 10 or something, which is lack of oil to the engine. They call it oil, it's diesel fuel, and that's the only error code that's come up. And then that's it. To set the timer, you press the settings button once, and then you can set a timer 1 or a timer 2. You can also set the clock, let's just go back to normal, just by switching the settings button, and then automatically the clock will start flashing, and then obviously you can press up or down to choose the level of time. This is next level. So we have hit 20 degrees in the van. That's how quick that, while I was talking to you, I turned it up. We've hit 20 degrees. Oh, so nice. It's so nice. This wasn't the intention of the channel. The intention of the channel was to go out traveling and show you places to go. It just turns out that I've ended up doing unboxing, fitting sidebars, lights, heaters, things like that during the old lockers downers, which I'm sure everybody's got a project during lockdown. It'd be nice to hear about your projects actually down below. There's quite a few people that I've been chatting to that have just picked up their new vans, which is super exciting for them. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up because that really helps the channel. And I'll see you at the next video. Right, so turns out I ain't quite finished. And I think I signed off a little bit too prematurely. So, back out again. Just not make that wet. Here's my list. And apart from testing the heater, which I've done twice now, which is this, I need to fit the control panel somewhere. I need to mount the exhaust. I need to mount the cool air intake pipe. I need to mount the fuel pipe somewhere so it don't touch the exhaust and burn away. I need to screw the plastic cover back on underneath there, put the spare wheel back on again, pump that spare wheel back up again, seal underneath the heat seal. What's this? Fill the fuel pump hole that I cut with the heat seal stuff, so no fumes get in there. Drive the van off the ramps, put those away. Fit air duct inside so it pushes the air further into the van, and then cable tie all wires, and then fit mud flaps. So this video continues. I swear this install would have taken half as long if I hadn't have had to film it. No, that's my excuse anyway. So anyway, I'm mounting the exhaust. I'm a bit sideways. It came with a bracket, did the exhaust, a mounting bracket, but it was like an L shape, and where I want to put the exhaust, there is no area for it to go in an L shape, so I've hammered it out and flattened it. It's still pretty strong, it's still really strong in fact. So I'm going to mount that onto the side just there, and then the exhaust, that bit there, will lift onto there, and it's mounted by the silencer, just like that. And I'm going to pilot hole drill now. Oh, I'm going to pilot hole drill now, and then get one of these self-tapping 10mm rust-proof brass screws into that as well. Right then, I'll get cracking with that. So I've mounted the exhaust, which is here. That's properly solid on. A couple of bolts, you won't be able to see them, a couple of bolts there and there. The fuel line and everything I've just tightened up, but not like nipped or anything like that. I've put that up there so it doesn't end up touching the exhaust, so there's no chance at all of this fuel line touching a hot exhaust. The pump is on the right angle, the filter is just under here, so it's kind of tucked out of the way, which is ace. And then the cold air inlet, I've just cable tied it to, it's windy. Problem with the wind is all the bits and the dust blow into your face. So now it's time to just send, I'm just going to seal and put as much sealant in these gaps and cracks as I possibly can, and obviously in this hole here. And then once that's done, the diesel heater is completely finished, and then I can sign off, but for now I can't. I've also fitted some mud flaps. I got them from eBay, and they were quite easy to put on, I'll be honest with you. There's no drilling involved at all. These two bolts, look, I've already cut myself. These two bolts are already in, and you just take them out, pop that in, it molds itself into it, and then you pop those in and Bob's your uncle. There's my exhaust inlet, cold air inlet. It's just strapped on. This doesn't get hot or anything like that. That's strapped on nicely there, and then the exhaust is there. I'm not 100% sure I like it in view, and I might send it up a little bit, but what I don't want to do is create like a dip where water and moisture can rest. So at the moment it comes all the way down and straight out, which means that any water can come out and go through the drip hole. Now this is something that a lot of people don't notice, but on the silencer here there's a little notch just out of here. Probably can't see it on camera. Little notch there, and that lets all the moisture drip out and stops it from gathering inside and rusting it from the inside out. And once the heater's been restarted, I can unplug this, send it through this hole that I've wired, attach the mounting bracket, and then clip that into there, and then everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth. I think I'm allowed to say bye now, because I've done everything. Right then guys, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. I don't know what I'm installing next time. I haven't got a plan actually for the next video. I will have by the time the videos comes round to uploading, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get out on a wild camp, because I'm dying to get out on a wild camp. Certainly now I've got the heater. So yeah, let's give that a go. Right then guys, see you later, take care, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall speak to you soon. See you, bye.